Hello and welcome to my garage. So I've heard that you would like to build a car from complete scratch, all from the catalog, no used parts whatsoever. Well, you come to the right place. There's only really one way to do this. Now, you've probably noticed if you have a floorboard and a firewall that you bought from the catalog, they just will not go together, right? That is because in order to build a car from scratch, you must first have a car that has a car information sheet. Now, this would work with any car. It doesn't matter which car, a junkyard car, a purchased car, or an abandoned car. Now, obviously, you would probably want to go with an abandoned car, as abandoned cars are free. Most of the parts on an abandoned car are completely trash to begin with. Now, if you've never heard of an abandoned car and wondering what is that, these are essentially cars that spawn on the map just randomly, and you'll come across them and you can just pick them up. Now, there are about 4 that spawn across the map in different places. The only one I know of for sure, if you go down to the junkyard, there's going to be this little trail that runs to the right of this road, and there's going to be a lighthouse here. And then along that lighthouse, there is a little shack, little house that is right there. Right next to that house in that roadway, I know that's where one abandoned car does spawn. It's not all the time, but you would just have to come across it. But like I said, it will work with any car. It'll just cost more money. Now, once you have that car that you're going to build from scratch, today we're going to be using a Chad, as we can see here. You want to get it down to basically these 3 pieces: floorboard, firewall, and a panel. Okay, so you want to have these 3 pieces, right? And what we're going to do first off is we're going to remove the floorboard first. Let's just go ahead and lower this. Let's go ahead and cut off the floorboard, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We need to cut off this piece, the rest of these here. And as soon as we hit this last piece, the floorboard's going to fall off. And there we go. Let's get this out of the way. Now, yeah, that didn't really stay on the lift, but it kind of is. But if we look at it, we can see that the firewall in this left panel is still considered the car. And at this point, what you're going to want to do is get your welder ready, get your stick in hand, make sure it's loaded, and you're going to grab the new floor that we bought from the catalog. We're going to come from this angle over here, though, just so we're a little bit closer to the weld points. So you just grab it. It's going to give you the check mark. It's going to be off kilter quite a bit, so just grab it again. Put it on until it goes right into a good spot, just like that. And then as long as you have one weld in, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. So what we could do next is replace this panel and get that connected to the floorboard. So if we cut off the rest of these beads, we're going to leave this firewall on, but cut off the rest of this. This we can take off now, and then we're going to go ahead and get a new one. Now, the biggest part about rebuilding a car from scratch is going to be making sure that you have the correct filter selected. Whatever car you're trying to build, it has to be the same one that you took apart, of course. But whatever car you're wanting to build, make sure that filter is selected, and you go into body, and then just those body parts will show up. So we are going for the front left panel, which is going to be right here. There we go. Let's go ahead and get this attached. Now, you could do this in any number of ways as far as taking apart and putting parts back together. It doesn't have to be in the same order that I'm doing it in. But now that is welded to this floor panel. And of course, each car is going to be slightly different, right? But now let's go ahead and remove the rest of this firewall. We do have to reload our cutter, so let's get that on real quick. And we know we only have that one piece here. We can cut that off. This firewall can now be removed, and this car is now considered those 2 pieces. So as long as you have the 2 pieces connected, you will be fine. And then we would just get the new firewall and attach it, and then we would just weld the new firewall on, and we'd have to reload and just continue welding it. But as you can see, this car is completely built from scratch. All these parts were purchased from the catalog. Nothing is used, and you would just continue to build it. You just continue to build until you basically have it completely finished. Now, I do want to show you real quick before we end, and that's basically the gist of it. You just have to make sure when you're shopping in your catalog, you know, it can get kind of confusing, especially when you're on a woof, and the woof has wagon parts, coupe parts, convertible parts, but it should mostly be labeled. W's are going to stand for wagon, C's are usually for coupe, and so forth. But you're always going to be under your body panel, a body tab first, at least to get your body put together. Now, before we end, I just want to show you what happens if you take everything off. So we're going to go ahead and just cut everything back off again. We're going to take off this piece first. There we go. This will come off. And now it's down to just these two pieces. Now let's go ahead and cut off this firewall. There we go. That is now off, right? And if we hit our I button, you can see nothing shows up here. The car still exists here, but it's not there anymore. And you can't really build from scratch, as the car will be here. But as you can see, the check mark, the piece wants to go underground. And you can never quite get it to lock in. Now, I have gotten it locked in before to where that one piece would just show up here. But by the time you try to grab the second piece, it's just a little bit too late. So it's not saying it's impossible. It could be possible with the right, you know, speed and all that. But as you can see, this car is still here. I'm not crouching. I'm falling into a hole right here. And if I hit I, it's going to show up. And it usually stays here forever, but I have one time came across an instance where it does disappear. So yeah, so ideally, just do it like I showed you at the beginning, and you should be able to build a car from complete scratch. And like I said, of course, each car is going to be slightly different on how you do it. And as long as you have three pieces together and you take off one and put a new one on, and you know, you should be able to figure out how to get that done. Like for instance, the lad has three pieces for the floor panel: the left, the right, and the center. So you can do that in any number of ways to get the new parts on. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know down below. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we will, of course, see you guys in another one later on.